Alrighty, so we have Andrew the Church Piper
Church
asking,
lady?
I think we know what he does now. Okay.
of all the tartans in House of Edgar's Genesis of Tartan Collection, which one would you most like to see in a different color palette?
Oh,
A different color palette.
wow.
Okay. I won't say I'm stumped, but I don't want to
hard.
see necessarily different color palettes because I appreciate them for what they are. That said,
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
what's the is it the Moy is the red one with the dark blue and dark green?
Moy Hall is the name that was given to the older interpretation of it. The one that is correct, color-wise, based on the dye research and thread research that Peter McDonald did, they have named the Jacobite Remnant. If I'm remembering correctly.
Okay, but it's the red one.
But it is the red one.
Yeah, I could potentially say that one in muted just to bring that to
Yeah.
so you can actually see the difference between the green and the blue because they're very very similar, very dark.
Yeah.
And then a muted red, maybe that. If I had to pick one, possibly that, or I would play with some of the colors. I wouldn't necessarily go straight color palette.
Well,
then
that's a different tartan.
But Royal Archer, no, like for Royal Archers, maybe like play with the green a little bit or the yellow or the red, but leave some of the other colors. Like if you really like the green, leave that, but then play with the red and darken
Now
it.
you're playing with the one I was going to talk about.
Okay, go right ahead then.
I would be kind of fascinated by RCOA. That's what we've been calling it in online
There's
chat.
those in the know.
RCOA.
The RCOA tartan. Royal Company of Archers.
RCOA. Archery. Don't bother running; you'll just die tired. I'd like to see that as weathered.
Okay.
Because I think it would take some of the sting of how busy it is out a little bit.
Okay.
But honestly, as I've said before, that one's actually kind of grown on me. Mac's probably happy about that, but it's actually kind of grown on me in a weird way. So, but I think a weathered version of Royal Company would be kind of cool.
Yeah. The Culloden I just like as is. It's got I
wouldn't mess
very
with
much a
Culloden.
muted kind of color palette already.
Yeah.
But a twist on a muted color palette. So I wouldn't mess with that one at all. Mac, what's your vote?
Like I'm re-looking at them again. We just did
He's cheating.
Well, we just did. I was trying to remember which one it was that we just did one in production. The Lost Tartan. Like
171.
that one.
I'd change that brown.
I'd
I like
either
the brown.
I'd either keep the brown and change like the blue and the yellow in it, like tone a little bit more. Like I agree with you. I think the base of most of them are fine. I would choose different aspects within each one to adjust. Like even Glen Afric, I like the base of that. I just hate the green that's in it. I would want to change the green that's
What
in
would
it.
you change the glean and Glen Africa to?
I went more of an olive than
Okay.
And it would tone well with the yellow that's in it
yes,
because it's a yellowy green.
But that's where I'm kind of going with
Yeah.
the rest of them. I'd wanna change aspects of them, not
The whole
thing.
Yeah.
No,
For the Lost Tartan, I would go more of a weathered kind of color palette with it because that brown it's too much of a reddish kind of brown. That one I don't like it like a Hershey's bar brown. I want something a little more earthy.
I don't know, earthy, or maybe go the opposite direction and make it more of a tan.
Okay.
Lighten it a little bit. But I mean, were you talking like making it more muted, like a more jewel tone, or because it's already Wilson's background color palette, so it's kind of
I know, which is I love Wilson.
I love, yeah, we all do.
So I think the majority for me is that blue is just that light blue is just too poppy and it needs to be toned down a little bit.
I wish they would have picked. That's the one thing that I would probably change from the Genesis collection. I wish they would have picked a different Wilson's tartan that exemplified Wilson's color choices better. Meaning, an olive green in it that's a dominant color, navy blue, like something that was more on the nose, felt more like Wilson's than that one felt like a fashion choice of the time, which brown was popular, we knew at that time.
You're disagreeing with Peter McDonald?
No, I'm disagreeing with House of Edgar for picking that one.
I thought Peter was the one who guided that decision, though.
There was one that they had looked at before the Lost Tartan.
Okay.
And when it came down to making the decision, they realized like, oh, this might not actually be a Wilson's one. So they said, let's pick something else that we know is Wilson's. And then they picked that one because there's an example of it in that jacket. So it does exist, and they knew that it was Wilson's. Okay. So that's why they ended up there, but I wish they would have picked a more Wilson-y feeling.
Yeah. This just reminds me more of like Stuart Black with that dark and that hard contrast in there.
Yeah. It's a nice looking tartan, but I would tweak the colors in it. Yeah.
But the story behind it is a big factor in why it was selected too.
Yeah. That's the story in all these was why they were selected.
I can't fault the choice of 171 based just on the story.
Yeah.
Of it. So I know.
And and we do know that, both Peter and House of Edgar, Simon and Emma all said, we had like 12, 15, 20 that we could have done, but we had to boil it down to the 6 with the strongest stories. So that's how they ended up at the ones they ended up at. But, maybe Genesis Part 2.
I was about to say, Genesis Part 2, or I'm curious what other people think, like if there's other oddball tartans that anybody thinks of, or tartans that have a story that people don't remember the story from other periods in history that would be interesting to see.
Now, they were trying to do pre-1820, so I get that. I get why they wanted to kind of stick there.
Yep. I get it.
Yeah. So Simon, if you're watching, maybe Genesis Part 2. I'll make some suggestions.
Maybe
we should do them.
Well, I wasn't going to say it out loud, but I mean, I had been kind of thinking.
No, we're not going to do it. Don't worry about it.
I'm just as always, I'm fascinated with the 19th century stuff because I was just doing background check on the Gordon tartan because of the Gordon Highlanders, and found some information on the original regiment and then the Gordon Highlanders, which was the amalgamated after 1881. And Mac was also working on a Gordon tartan reenactor kilt, World War I, which yes, we will show in a video shortly. And it just got me thinking about the stories behind a lot of these things. I mean, I was going through the list of engagements that those guys were in, and it's just like started off like right with the French Revolutionary Wars and then the Napoleonic Wars, and it just keeps going and going and going. It's like they were freaking everywhere. So I think there's stories behind some of the tartans which people don't know, just kind of like if this thing could talk kind of stuff, which I really kind of love. I mean, that's what's so cool about some of the Genesis tartans also. But
exactly. Genesis tartans, that's what I liked about the piece that you did on the Genesis tartans. It's the story. Like tartan is part of the story, and it has its own story within it. So
it's a time capsule.
Yeah.
If you know what's going into it.
Yeah. So. Indeed.
Yep.
All right, Eric.
That was Mac, right? Okay.
Yep.
It's a fun question. Thank you for that one. Okay. You ready?
Sure.
Archer season. You gotta say Moy Hall season.
Moy Hall season.
It's the Bugs Bunny thing.
Bugs Bunny thing?
Yeah.
Are you a Wascally Wabbit?
No, I was doing more
Please
Daffy
subscribe
Duck.
to our channel so we don't have to do this anymore. Thanks.